In today's video, imagine the situation. You and your friend are walking through the forest, following a narrow path covered in dry leaves. It's late, but the moonlight filters through the trees just enough for you to see ahead. The cold air makes your breath visible, and the only sounds are the distant hoots of an owl and the occasional rustling of branches. Then, without warning, you see a figure standing just beyond the tree line. It doesn't look right. Its face is blurred, distorted, like an unfinished sketch of a human. The proportions seem off, the limbs too long, the posture unnatural. It doesn't move, but you can feel its attention locked onto you. Your stomach tightens. Your friend whispers, "Do you see that?" But you can't respond. Then, in an instant, it's gone. No movement, no sound, just gone. A cold wave rushes through your body. The forest suddenly feels different, darker, quieter, heavier. The air is thick, making it hard to breathe. The silence is unnatural. No wind, no insects, just an eerie, suffocating stillness. You and your friend glance at each other, both waiting for the other to say something, to explain what just happened. Then crack. A branch snaps behind you. Not a normal snap, not something random. This was close, deliberate. Your heart leaps into your throat. You don't want to turn around, but every instinct in your body tells you that something is there. Your friend grabs your arm, voice barely a whisper. Run. Your feet move before your brain can catch up. You sprint down the path, dodging branches and leaping over roots, barely able to see where you're going. The sound of running footsteps behind you doesn't match your own. They're uneven. Chaotic something is moving in quick, jerky bursts, stopping and starting like it's learning how to chase. The worst part? It's getting closer. The trees feel wrong now, shifting unnaturally as if the whole forest is watching, warping. The path ahead twists and bends in ways it shouldn't. Your legs burn, your lungs ache, but stopping isn't an option. Thin laughter. Not normal laughter. It's warped, low, and guttural, like something struggling to mimic a human voice. It's not tired. It's not struggling. It's toying with you. Then you see it, the exit. The clearing just ahead. The light from the main road barely visible through the trees. Relief floods through you, but then you hear it. Right next to your ear. A whisper. A voice that is not yours, not your friend's. You're going the wrong way. What would you do? Leave your opinion. The next video shows a man lying in bed, ready to sleep. The lights are off, and the only glow in the room comes from his phone screen. The silence is deep, broken only by the faint sound of his breathing. He closes his eyes for a moment, letting his body sink into the mattress. Exhaustion weighs on his limbs, pulling him closer to sleep. But just as he is about to drift off, he hears it. A faint noise, like something shifting. His eyes snap open. The room is dark, still, exactly as it should be, but the air feels different, thicker, heavy, as if something unseen is pressing against his chest. He holds his breath, straining his ears. Maybe it's just the house settling, maybe the wind outside. His rational mind searches for an explanation, but his instincts scream otherwise. Then, the bed creaks. Not from his own movement, from something else. His stomach twists. The sound has come from above him. He doesn't move. He doesn't even breathe. His mind races, but his body refuses to respond. A slow, sinking dread washes over him. Something is in the room, and then he sees it. A dark figure looms over his bed. It is massive, its shape twisted, unnatural. Not a shadow, not a trick of the light. It has depth, presence. It isn't standing on the floor, it is hovering directly above him, inches from his face. He should feel its breath, but instead, there is only an overwhelming cold, a void. His body is completely paralyzed. His heartbeat pounds against his ribs. He tries to move his arms, his legs, nothing happens. The figure tilts its head, jerky, inhuman, like it is examining him. Its facer, where a face should be, is nothing but darkness, no eyes, no mouth. But he knows it is watching. He can feel it. Then it moves. Fast. Its head lunges closer. A deep, guttural whisper fills the room, but the words are inside his head, incomprehensible but heavy, pressing against his skull. The weight on his chest grows unbearable. He can't breathe. The shadows around him pulse, shifting, swallowing everything. The walls seem to stretch outward, as if the room itself is warping. Something is being pulled from him. He doesn't know what. His thoughts feel fragmented, distant, like something is invading his mind, digging into his very existence. The figure doesn't move away. It just leans closer. The whisper turns into a distorted, inhuman growl. His vision blurs. This is it. Then, something inside snaps. With a final surge of desperation, his body breaks free. His muscles unlock. Without thinking, he lunges out of bed, gasping for air. His feet hit the cold floor, but he doesn't stop. He runs. He sprints for the door, yanking it open, stumbling into the hallway. His chest burns as he struggles to breathe. He turns back. The room is empty. His bed is untouched. The shadows are still. Nothing moves. But the air is still thick. The cold still lingers. Something was there. And the worst part? He doesn't know if it's really gone. What would you do? Leave your opinion. The video starts with a light-hearted atmosphere. A group of friends is gathered in the living room of a remote cabin deep in the forest. The camera moves around, capturing them playing cards at the table, some scrolling through their phones, others laughing and chatting. The lighting is dim, coming from a few old lamps and the flickering glow of the fireplace. Everything seems normal, but outside, the dense, dark woods create an eerie contrast. The person holding the camera casually walks around, recording the moment. They turn toward the large window, overlooking the backyard. And then it happens. Outside, in the shadows near the back of the house, a man walks past the window, but something about him is deeply unsettling. His skin is naturally pale almost, as if he doesn't belong in this world. His movements are slow, too controlled. His face is turned forward, but it looks empty, devoid of emotion. The entire group freezes. "Who the hell is that?" someone asks loudly. The camera swings back to the window, trying to find him again. But he's already gone. A heavy silence fills the room. The friends exchange nervous glances, waiting for someone to explain what they just saw. Finally, the cabin owner speaks, his voice tense. "There's no one else here. We're alone." Tension turns into action. One of them rushes to the back door, throwing it open. The camera shakes as the entire group gets up and moves outside, shining their phone flashlights across the dark yard. The cold night air hits the person holding the camera. The wind rustles the trees, and the sound of dry leaves crunching beneath their feet fills the space. But there's no one there. They spread out, searching the area. The camera focuses on the exact spot where the man should have been. No footprints, no signs of movement, nothing. He couldn't have disappeared that fast. One of them murmurs, scanning the darkness. "We just saw him." The cabin owner insists that there are no neighbors nearby, that they are completely isolated. One of the friends circles the house, recording every corner, every shadow between the trees. The darkness feels heavier now. Suddenly, a loud crack echoes from the forest. The camera swings abruptly toward the sound, but the flashlight only reveals a wall of trees. Something or someone is out there, watching. But the most terrifying detail comes at the end. Just before heading inside, someone zooms in on the cabin's window. The footage is grainy and shaky, but for a split second, the same pale man is there, his reflection in the glass, staring at them. The group rushes inside, locking every door and window. The person holding the camera is breathing heavily. The recording ends with a shot of the now silent living room. Whatever that was, it appeared out of nowhere and vanished just as fast. The video cuts to black. What do you guys think it was? I want to hear your opinions. The video starts with the YouTuber walking along a narrow trail in the middle of the forest. The camera shakes slightly as he talks about how quiet and isolated the place feels. The wind rustles softly through the trees, and the only sounds besides his voice are the crunching leaves beneath his footsteps. He pans the camera around, showing the tall trees and the dim sky overhead. Nothing seems unusual at first, but then, as he quickly turns to the side, something appears for a split second. A face, motionless, white. The footage becomes shaky for a moment before the camera swings back to the same spot. Nothing, just the shadows between the trees. The YouTuber doesn't notice at first. He keeps recording, unaware that something was captured in the video. Minutes later, he stops to review some footage on his camera. His voice suddenly changes. He zooms in on one of the frames, and there it is. In the corner of the screen, for just a fraction of a second, a face, completely expressionless, unnaturally smooth, almost like a mask. But the strangest part? The eyes don't reflect any light. They're just empty, dark voids. His breathing gets heavier. The footage becomes unstable as he looks around, trying to find a logical explanation. But the forest is empty, or at least it should be. He decides to wrap up the recording and head back the way he came. But then, something catches his attention. Near a tree up ahead, just beyond the path, a hooded figure is peeking out from behind the trunk. It doesn't move. It just stands there, watching. The camera trembles slightly as he takes a hesitant step forward. "What the hell is that?" he whispers. He focuses on the figure. The hood is long and dark, concealing any facial features. Only the outline of its body is visible, too tall, too thin, almost unnatural. He hesitates, but curiosity overpowers fear. Slowly, he moves closer, the camera capturing every shaky step. Then, in an instant, the figure vanishes. No sound, no movement, just gone. He rushes to the tree, spinning the camera frantically in every direction. Nothing, only the suffocating silence of the forest. He stands frozen for a few seconds, breathing heavily before muttering, "No, no, no," and rushing away. The video cuts off abruptly. In the comments, confusion spreads. Was that really a mask? Or something worse? Watch closely, its eyes seem to move right before the camera turns. He should go back at night and investigate. Then, one comment stands out. The problem isn't the face. The problem is that in the last scene, the hooded figure is still there, deep in the background, and it's even closer. The video starts with shaky footage of a dimly lit living room. The person behind the camera is breathing heavily, his voice low and unsteady. "I live in the middle of nowhere. My backyard is literally the forest. I just caught something on camera, and I have no idea what it was. I don't even want to look outside right now." The screen cuts to footage recorded just minutes earlier. It's nighttime. The camera is aimed outside through a window, showing the backyard an open stretch of land leading straight into the dense, dark woods. The only source of light is a weak bulb above the back door, casting eerie shadows across the grass. The person filming speaks in a hushed tone. "I keep hearing weird noises out here, like movement. But every time I check, there's nothing. Then, something else. At first, it's barely noticeably faint shape blending into the darkness. But as the camera zooms in, it becomes clear. A figure is standing at the tree line. It looks like a woman, wearing a long, flowing dress. She doesn't move, doesn't react. She's just there. T. What the hell? The camera lingers on the figure for several seconds. Then her arm moves. It's not a normal motion. It's sharp, unnatural, like she's being pulled by invisible strings. The movement is too fast, too sudden. The person filming gasps, the camera shaking violently as he stumbles backward. Nope, nope. The footage jolts as he scrambles away from the window, his breathing turning into panicked gasps. The last clear image is a blurred shot of the backyard before the camera swings wildly and everything cuts to black. The video returns to the present. The camera is now aimed at the locked back door. The person's voice is shaky, filled with genuine fear. I don't know what that was. I'm not checking. I'm not going out there. He lets out a nervous laugh, but it doesn't hide the tension in his voice. I'm locking every door in this house. The silence lingers, and then just before the screen fades to black, a faint sound is picked up by the mic. Something outside. A rustling. A tap. The video ends abruptly. What do you guys think it was? I want to hear your opinions. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more stories like this, make sure to hit the like button. It really helps the channel. And of course, if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new content. But now tell me, what do you think really happened in this story? Was it just imagination, or was something actually there? Leave your opinion in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video, if you can sleep until then.